What's going on, guys? MariK here, back with another Dragon Ball Super deck profile. This weekend we decided to take a break from playtesting with our androids that we'll be playing in the upcoming regional this month. And we decided to go with one of my personal favorites, one of my favorite characters, and a severely underrated leader in my opinion, Universe 7 Son Gohan. This is one of the more unique leaders I think that we've gotten, especially that came out of Tournament of Power. He's got the Warrior of Universe 7 trait, so all Universe 7 in all areas have no specified cost. And instead of drawing when he attacks, once per turn when you combo with the Universe 7 from your battle area during your turn, draw 2 cards. So he doesn't have to attack, you don't have to attack a leader, any card can attack and get that draw 2, and it's really fucking cool that you can do that, especially because if he gets negated, you just attack with somebody else and you still trigger the auto. It's also really nice because he's one of the leaders that when he awakens, you switch up to 2 energy to active mode, and he becomes Son Gohan, leader of Universe 7. His effects remain the same, except he also gets a permanent that says all Universe 7 in your battle area can combo when in rest mode. That's what makes this leader so great in my opinion, and I think that's what makes him still viable in the competitive format. I mean, we went undefeated with him, and we went 2-0 in every game we played, even against SS3 red-blue bullcrap. So I think Gohan has a lot of potential, and I think if built right and piloted properly, he can definitely overcome anything that the meta can throw at him. Up first in the deck, we have our Searcher. We run 4, ready to fight Son Goku. I cannot wait to try and get some of the event pack Gokus with the Shenron in the back. Basically, when you play him, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and you add a Universe 7 card from your deck to your hand, and then shuffle it. And the best part about him is you play him, you get your search, you attack with Gohan, you combo with him, and then you get draw 2 cards. So he's a free +2 for 1 energy, really. Up next, we have one of the best non-Saiyan characters, Indomitable Link Piccolo. He's a 2-cost 10,000. This is when you play this card, choose up to 1 Son Gohan Adolescence with an energy cost of 3 or less from your deck and add it to your hand. So you can add any Son Gohan Adolescence 3 or less, and there's a lot. You've got so many options you can choose from, and that's what makes this Piccolo so great, is not only can you choose so many of these targets, but it also gives you so much freedom in how you build your deck as well, because you can pull any of these cards straight from the deck. The other Gohan we chose is a perfect match for this Piccolo, and it's Indomitable Link Son Gohan. He's also a Universe 7, so that allows him to be played very well with this leader. He's a 3-cost 15,000 that says when you play this card, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost 4 or less and KO it. Just play him and blow stuff up. Obviously, Barrier says no, but anything 4 or less just dies to this. And one of my favorite things about this card, too, is the fact that the Gohan Piccolo combo makes one picture, and I think it's cool that they did stuff like this. Kind of like the Goten and Trunks from the Hero box, as well as a lot of the cards in the World Martial Arts Tournament, although there's more of a mechanic reason behind that. Then we have one of the best Gohans that you can search with Indomitable Link Piccolo. It's Burst Attack Son Gohan. We ran 4 of these. He's at 3-cost 15,000 with critical. And he says when this card attacks, if you have 4 or less cards in your hand, draw 2 cards. This card is amazing. It allows you to combo more than you could on a normal basis. It gives you extra draw power when your hand gets low. This Gohan is severely, just ridiculously OP, and that's why he's one of the more expensive cards that are out right now, and any deck that runs red seems to run a playset of this card, and for good reason too. Then we have one of my favorite cards from the Tournament of Powers set. We have Focus Mind Piccolo. He's a 3-cost 15,000 power with blocker and barrier, and his permanent says during your opponent's turn, if you have 4 or more energy, he gains 5,000 power. So he's a 20k blocker with barrier, and this Piccolo was so important to our victories just because we could block with him, and if we comboed to keep him alive, then we had him again for next turn, and he's got Barrier, which Barrier is one of the best skills in the game. Up next, we've got our first finisher. We ran 3 results of training Son Gohan. I'd actually had 4 in here at one point, and I decided to take 1 out just because you don't really want to see it too often. You're only going to want to play it the one time when you're trying to press for game, or you just want to drop your hand. And I had other cards that were in the deck as well to kind of suit different strategies. He's a 5 cost, 25,000. You can evolve for 4 of any color on a Universe 7 Son Gohan. And if there are 2 or more Universe 7 in your combo area, he gains Triple Strike. That's a big deal, especially when you combine him with the leader's ability to be able to combo with cards while they're in rest mode. His auto says when a card evolves into this card, if your leader card is blue, choose up to 3 Universe 7 with energy cost of 3 or less from your hand and play them. So you can play your Piccolo blockers, your Piccolo searchers, you can play either of the Gohans, you can play the Gokus, the super combos. Anything can be played, and that gives you a lot of board presence. It gives you extra attacks, it gives you extra combos with them in rest mode because of the leader. The Gohan's just too good. We also ran 3 Beerus Universe 7 Divine Vanquisher.
You've made me mad!
He's a 5 cost, 25,000 with double strike. When this card attacks the leader card, your opponent chooses any number of cards from their hand, battle area, or energy area for which the total cost adds up to 6 or more and places them in the drop area. So we had him in here in the case that, 1, we didn't have a Gohan to stay alive to evolve into results of training, especially since we don't run the Focus Mind Gohan that has Barrier, so they can get KO'd pretty easily now. And Beerus is also another option if either A, I don't have any 3 drops or less in my hand that I want to play with Gohan's ability, or if there's just things on the board that I'm trying to get rid of, or if they have an open board, then I can attack with him and force them to discard cards or force them to tear away their energy. So having Beerus in there gave us a different play strategy, and I liked the idea, but Beerus never once actually saw play. Actually, the best card in the deck was a little bit of spice that we teched in that nobody really saw coming. It was 2 Last One Standing Son Goku. He's a 5 cost, 25,000 power, and this card does so many things. It caught all my opponents off guard. His activate main says once per turn, choose one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. Just boom, play him, blow something up. His auto says when you play this card from your hand, if there are 9 or more Universe 7 in your drop area for the duration of the turn, this card gains 10,000 power, triple strike, and this attacks can't be negated. So he's a 35k triple strike that you can't stop. And against Super Saiyan 3 Goku, that is so satisfying to see all that open energy and them have no response to you attacking. And you just attack and dump your hand combo with everything on the board because of Gohan's ability. Whew, this Goku, I wish we had ran more than 2 of him. Granted, I never had trouble getting the Goku, but this card came in so clutch against all of my opponents, and I definitely think that I should be running more than 2 of them in this deck. Now, because I made this deck about 20 or 30 minutes before the tournament started, I didn't really know what all I wanted to put in it. I was kind of undecided between the Gohan, the Beerus, and the Goku, as you can see. And we had an odd number of cards, too, so I had 1 space left over. And I wish it would have been one of those Goku, but we teched in 1 at all costs Vegeta. Which would have been in the case that we needed to self-awaken, then we had him. But honestly, I feel like the Goku's better, and they basically do the same thing. At all costs Vegeta, he's a 4 cost, 20,000. That says when you play this card, draw 1 card and choose up to 1 of your energy and switch it to active mode. Once per turn, choose 2 cards in your life and add them to your hand. This card gains 3,000 power for the duration of the turn for each energy you have there. Then, if you have 5 or more energy, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and KO it, and this card gains triple strike for the duration of the turn. So if you play him in 5 energy, he's a 35k triple strike that also got you a KO, except his attacks can still be negated. So I think that the Goku was a lot better, and I never ended up playing the Vegeta, but again, he was just a tech in case I needed to self-awaken. if I was playing against either a deck that A, didn't want to do that, or B, in the case that I played against, like, stupid Universe 7 Frieza crap. Then for the rest of our Universe 7 support, we ran 4 Infinite Energy Android 18. I ran her over Raging Spirit Son Gohan. Even though he's blue and the Gohan leader's blue, she is a Universe 7, so she can combo while in rest mode, which with this leader is a really big deal. But she's exactly the same. At the end of the turn, after you combo with her from your hand, if your leader's Universe 7, you get to play her in rest mode. And she's got 15,000 power, and she has one thing that Gohan doesn't. All 4 of her are shiny, and I can't get future Gohan shiny yet, so we decided to play with 18. I also can't use her in anything that's not Universe 7, so I may as well use her while I can, until they give me a Universe 7 Android 17 leader. Then we ran 4 Master Roshi Forged of Will. He is our negate, but he's also a 1-drop that, if need be, and it was the case a couple times, I had to hardcast him for 1, just so I could combo him away with Gohan so that we could get our draw for the turn. I don't prefer to do it that way, but if that's what we had to do, you know, sometimes that's just how the game works. Then we ran our super combo, Backbone of Universe 7, Son Goku. Really the only difference here between him and the blue super combos is he can be comboed away at 5 to get the draw, as long as you have a Universe 7 leader. And since he is Universe 7, I could play him with the 5-drop Gohan's ability, which really wouldn't do anything, but it's just another option there if I wanted to swing with him to kill something small and then still be able to combo him for the +10 in the draw. Then we ran 4 Unyielding Spirit Trunks. Been one of my favorite blue cards since Set 2, since before everybody started abusing him and then crying about his ability. He doesn't do as much with this deck, just because this deck doesn't go as aggressively as early. But having that extra energy open to then be able to Roshi, so you have a Universe 7 that you can combo away for Gohan next turn is really nice, or to drop an 18 for extra attacks and also to combo away if needed. Then, since the majority of our Universe 7 deck is blue, we ran 4 Senzu Beans, because Senzu Bean is still one of the best cards from Set 1, and the power boost that you can put on your leader that lasts for the whole turn is really good defensively, and being able to use it to untap your stuff works both on yours and your opponent's turn. Lastly, we wanted to play the card according to its restriction coming, I believe, this weekend. So we ran 1 Legendary Flute. It actually did help even at 1. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's going to be a dead card at 1. It's not worth playing. No, it's actually still worth playing. There were instances where I bounced one of my cards, got a draw, and then I was able to replay it or combo it or, you know, whatever. Or just to bounce one of your opponent's cards. Like, yes, okay, so even if they can just play that card again, they have to spend the energy to play it again. They also have to decide, is it worth replaying the card you bounced or playing something different instead? I think Flute at 1 is still a decent card, and if you're running a blue leader, there's no reason you can't find space to tech 1 Flute in. There's just really no excuse for it. Then for the side deck, I had a lot of cards that I wanted to run in the main deck, but overall, they just didn't seem to be as beneficial against every deck out there. So we ran 4 Videl, Gohan's partner. Since your leader is Gohan Adolescence, you can play her for free at any time. Free blockers are always fantastic, but in a deck like this where your deck revolves around Universe 7 cards, and I have the Roshis for the negates, she wasn't as necessary. Had we played against something hyper-aggressive, we would have sided her in and maybe taken out the Roshis, or probably kept both of them in and taken out some of the higher-end cards. Then for when you're playing against an opponent that has those very important battle cards that they just can't afford to let anything happen to, so they leave them in active mode, we ran 4 Burst Energy Super Saiyan Bardock. He's a 4-cost 20,000, but you only have to pay 1 if you overwhelm him. And when you play him using Overwhelm, he gains 10,000 power for the duration of the turn and can attack battle cards in active mode. That's a pretty big deal, because being able to attack battle cards in active mode Generally, they're going to be lower attack cards, and they're going to be things that your opponent either can't do anything with or wants to protect. And having a 30,000 attacker is just insane. You could even use him as a finisher against your opponent's leader, because 30,000 before comboing is still pretty impressive. Next, we had another card I really wanted to find room for in the deck, and I think I probably would just main deck them in place of the Beerus and the Vegeta. We had 4 awe-inspiring Intimidators, Super Saiyan Blue Vegito. He's a 4-cost 20,000 that says, if your leader card is blue and this card's in rest mode, it gains barrier, and your opponent's cards can't attack your leader card. So he's kind of like a nice little wall here, and 20,000 is a pretty decent wall, especially when you can combo things from your battle area, even if they're in rest mode, if you're awakened. And we have plenty of ways to defend with him anyways. I don't really care about the draw 1 card when you're 5 or more energy, because at 5 or more energy, I'm probably going to try and play either Results of Training Gohan or Last One Standing Goku. So Vegeta would get played on 4 to be able to get him in rest mode, get him the barrier, and get him his defensive ability active. Then lastly, for decks that just love to abuse barrier, we had 3 Cold-Hearted Strike Frieza. He's a 5-cost 20,000 with dual attack, and when you play him, you can place a Universe 7 from your hand in the drop area and choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards ignoring barrier and switch them to rest mode. They also can't switch to active mode during your opponent's next charge phase. So you can pretty much take 2 of their battle cards straight out of the equation, hit 2 of their biggest attackers, and just go, you're not going to do anything next turn. And your opponent can't switch them during their charge phase. Now, they could switch them via other abilities, but the few cards we have that have those abilities, nobody really plays. And this card would be great against apes. However, even though we did play against apes, I didn't feel the need to side it in. I probably should have, but the game just went well enough that I felt like I didn't need it. So speaking of apes, round 1, we played against SS3 apes. It's always a pleasure to see apes, although it's less of a pleasure to be the one playing against them. And because I love Bardock and the Great Ape archetype as much as I do, it's nice to see them still see play, but at the same time, I do understand people's frustration playing against them. However, when Great Ape King Vegeta doesn't come out till turn 5, like that right there is the biggest difference. Sure, you can get your Bardock Ape on turn 1, or you can play your March of the Great Apes and get your guys out, but if I can kill them, even if you have Planet Vegeta on the board, I don't really care so much. Like Frieza would have put them in rest mode and I could have killed them, or just left them there. The Bardock Overrealm would have just ran them straight over. The 4-drop Vegeta, the 5-drop Beerus, the 5-drop Goku, they all would just murder the apes and then just continue to. And so it wasn't really a whole lot of a big issue for this deck. It was a pretty good matchup. We ended up 2-0ing apes. Round 2, we ended up playing against another Super Saiyan 3 deck. This one being your generic topping and winning all of the regionals, Super Saiyan 3 blue-red aggro. And even despite getting Zeno'd over and over again, this Gohan leader and the draw power, this deck just gives you so much advantage that initially you're kind of upset about it, but you get all those cards right back eventually. So it's not really a big deal. And as I mentioned earlier with Last One Standing Son Goku, when your opponent untaps 3 energy at the end of their turn and they think that they've got themselves covered and you play that card, they've got nothing. No Whis, no Vados, no Topo. There's nothing they can do. And if they have those cards in their hand, they're just dead, with the exception of Topo, and they can combo 5,000 power with him. But other than that, you're going in hard, and that's how we won our matches against them. Now, granted, that deck is still ridiculously powerful, so you have to play really smart. You have to know when to play what cards, when to use your Roshis, dropping your 18s at the right time. You have to stay alive, but you also have to do enough damage. And as soon as you see them at 3 life, you drop that Goku and you just dump everything into his attack. And because of that, we ended up 2-0ing SS3 again. And then in the final round, we played against Cell. And not Android 17 leader with Cell. We played against the Cell leader with Cell. No Cell's rebirth or anything like that. So that made it a little more difficult to keep things on the board for me to be able to combo with later on, because they would die. But as long as hitting full power energy, my Roshis or my one-drop Son Gokus, I was usually guaranteed to be able to combo them on my turn. And sometimes I would just play as many battle cards as I could and force the KO from Cell, because even though, yes, it's going to KO my battle card, at the same time it's him ripping a card out of his hand to do so, so it's giving him a little less resources. And the cool thing with this deck is while you draw a lot of cards, there's also the potential to play a lot of cards, so it makes it easier to play around the Cell chain. I think at one point we got Cell chain twice, although he Cell chained us once, and then the second chain he went into one of the tournament pack promo cells. For the most part, he didn't Cell chain us. He actually used the chain to get out the Ultimate Box Vial Replication cell and get his tokens and his draw too. So it was really cool to see another player using that cell, because I really like that card and I think it's a little underrated. But other than that, we didn't have a whole lot of problems. We 2-0'd Cell. We side decked for the Vegetos against all of our opponents, but we didn't really end up needing them. And so it kind of leaves me wondering, like, I feel like they should be in the main deck, but they may as well be in the side deck. But if I'm not going to side them, why are they taking up space in the side deck? While at the same time, like, Beerus didn't really help. I think the tech Vegeta was still kind of nice for Awakening, but maybe I should play something a little lower energy cost to Awaken with. Like, I could possibly do Tapion, but the Vegeta is also Universe 7, so I can use him to further continue all of my Universe 7 combos. So, I don't know. But either way, we had a lot of fun getting to play with Gohan. I loved this deck when it first came out. We've played with it a couple times, gone undefeated with it every time. And just to see that the Universe 7 Gohan can still hold its own against the current meta, which most decks seem to just not be able to, or people are just not willing to try them. It made me happy that there are other decks that can perform well in this game without you having to commit yourself to what the community considers to be the end-all be-all. But with that, we're going to wrap up this video. If you guys enjoyed, if you like the Gohan leader or the Universe 7 theme altogether, make sure you hit that like button down below for us. You know, we appreciate the support. We appreciate all of our subscribers as well. We're well over 1,100, and it just means so much to me that you guys are supporting our content in all the ways that you do. I love having conversations with everybody in the comments, whether it be on deck profiles or on our spoiler videos, in our reveal videos for upcoming sets. You guys have a lot of insight, and even I've learned things from you guys, whether it be better ways to utilize some card effects or even how to improve weaknesses in our deck profiles as well. But with that, we're going to go ahead and get the freak out of here now, and we'll see you guys in the next video.